I don't think it really had any sad memories growing up at Ottumwa. We had a home, roof over our head, my mom took care of us, went to school, had friends. I really don't remember any really sad times, because we didn't know any different what was going on the outside world. Like civil rights was going on down south and stuff. We didn't have a clue. We just went on with life, you know. We didn't sit down like the people down south that have their children watching that stuff. We didn't pay any attention to it. It's just something that wasn't happening to us.
Well, for me, when I come to high school, way before Martin Luther King, way before a lot of things, I've just taught to be in a survival mode, that's all. You know, probably the saddest thing is that I know a lot of things happen to you that you don't really know anything about. And you don't know how these decisions are made, or the decisions that are made for or against you. At my class reunion now, I made a speech in my class reunion, and I complimented my classmates on their parents, because in our school, I virtually knew no difference between black and white. Now here's what a lot of white people do though. They'll take you and tell you that I don't look at you as being black. But my friend might be standing next to me, and he can be any kind of color, but he don't have that passage.
How have things changed since you were, say, of like 20 years of age until now?
Changed much?
Yeah, well, it depends on where you are on the social ladder. You know, and it makes a difference who your associates are. You know, if I know that there's a period in my life where I was down in the muck and the mire with everybody else for 2 or 3 years, and I realized it's not the place I want to be. All people want to do is borrow your money, buy them a cigarette, or buy them a drink. When I really after I got to John Merrill Company, I got in with the people I thought were making it. Everybody's self-supporting. You don't have to worry about buying them a drink, give them a cigarette, do this, you know. And I like that, because when I got my check, I had my whole check, and we could live. We were married, but the idea of being self-supporting and be able to raise your family and being a reputable person, that's something we try to carry through our whole life, and that's how we stayed together all this time. It's just we have similar goals and similar wants, but it's about how you carry yourself, what you're doing constructively, your faith.
It did change for us. When we first got married, we was living renting. We decided we wanted to buy a house. All the realtors told us that we could only buy in certain areas. We weren't allowed to buy anywhere else. And so then we decided just to build. But there's still certain areas we could just build in. That's changed now. Maybe it's because just us two. Status has changed. We have rental. When we first started having rental, we had trouble renting. Now our name's established. We don't even advertise half the time. When it's empty, they call us. But it took years of people seeing that we were honest, hardworking, and kept everything clean, took care of everything. When we first started out, it was hard because no one wanted to do anything. Didn't want to live in, and you're on the wrong side of the wrong side of town, and they don't want to come and live on that side of the town and stuff. So we had to get established, and it's taken us a lot of years to get established. You know, we couldn't just say, I want to live over there. They wouldn't allow you to live over there. This is back in the 50s.
What do you think is your biggest accomplishment?
Raising our children and establishing ourselves as good citizens here in Ottumwa. We've left a mark that everybody knows our life history. They respect us, and we have gotten respect. So that's important. And we really didn't change our ways. We just lived the way we were always taught to live. Honest and not be in trouble. So it took us a lot of years to do that. We have a home and we're established.
For me, part of it is we had a lot of challenges as young people. But my wife, now see, she won't take credit for this, but she worked in a doctor's office maybe for 30 years. And she's a nice-looking woman, dressed nice, and had all the attributes anybody like to have for a woman working in his office. Everybody can't see that. So it don't work. It does not. The formula that worked for us won't work for everybody. You know, just you take, and you take for me, for instance, when I was working at John Brown Company, and I was lugging beef, and this guy come to me there, what are you doing lugging beef? So he said, would you like to be a supervisor? I said, well, I have to go home and I talk to my wife about it. So that's what I said, but I was just holding him off. See? But anyway, next time I couldn't wait to see him next time because I told him I wanted a job. Next time I saw him, so then I had to take these isometric tests with 3 other guys to get this job. Okay, after I got the job, they said, well, you're not going to get that in Winston. They're all union people. You know, you can't get them. And I said, well, they need to ask me because just because you was union, I didn't want to like beef the rest of my life. So anyway, I got the job. Then they said, well, after you got the jobs, and they weren't sure how smart I was or how smart I wasn't. So they said, well, you're going to have to time study this department. So we know what you think about it. So they had me study the department and time study it, and then I gave them all the time study work back, and they said, well, since you've got this all time study, Byron, then we're going to put you out there and you can make it work. Because I was doing away with 4 or 5 jobs out of this one department. See? And so the very first night, I was able to make it work, but I had to stay right out there on the job, right out there on the people, keep them out of the restrooms, keep them working so that they would do what they're supposed to do. You can't do the job if you're sitting in the restroom. So this story gets so long, the things that we have done. When I retired at 55, I retired at 55 years old, which is going to be impossible for the next group of coming along, because I got an early out, and I took it. But when we retired, we had 8 places paid for. Now it's tough at 55 years old to pay for one, have one paid for. You know what I'm saying? If you aren't paying attention to what you're doing. Well, we had 8 places paid for and then after we retired, we bought 3 places since we retired. We bought Guevara's, we bought Angela's house, and we bought that duplex over on Hickory and Manning. But it's all about how you conduct yourself in your business. You know, but then when Morrell shut down in '73, then I was lucky enough to go to John Deere, and I worked there 21 years. And I worked there for 1 year. I was a machine operator. And then they called me when I was laid off. They called me when I was laid off and asked me if I'd be interested in being a supervisor, because I'd had supervisory experience before. So I was a supervisor over there for 20 years. So everybody ain't going to get those, see what I'm saying? Everybody's not going to get those opportunities. You know what I mean? And I felt like as much money as I was making for us, they say if I don't show something, and if I don't do something with all these opportunities we've had, we wasted our time.